Every issue in our society that is shamed, stigmatized, unresolved, misunderstood, issues of race, class, gender, sexual orientation, you know, little things like those. These will wreak havoc in the intimate interior life of relationships. And they do so despite the fact, or more accurately because of the fact, that they can remain invisible forces. Therapists have an ethical responsibility to find ways to open up conversations with clients about how these forces affect our most intimate encounters. One final stress I want to mention that affects couples today is what Peggy Papp calls the time famine. In her latest book, Couples on the Fault Line, Peggy Papp writes that in our information age, the management of time is one of the most critical issues that couples face today, as they're caught between frenetic work schedules and multiple pressures. She writes, quote, "Intimacy cannot be forced or manufactured on demand. It requires the nurturance of time, the space for unpredictable experiences, and the quiet, unscheduled moments that define the uniqueness of a relationship." Now, all of this is to say, all this talk about stresses on relationships is to say that I actually feel very humble about relationships, my own included. If everything is calm in my life, it's easy for me to think that I am a very mature, highly evolved, clear-thinking, well-spoken, Zen Buddhist-like person. But when enough stress hits, I have the brain of a reptile. And that's why I love Mary Karr's definition. You know, the novelist Mary Karr defines a dysfunctional family as any family with more than one person in it. As Rich mentioned, the theme that unites all of my work is the desire to help people to find an authentic voice, to speak wisely and well, sometimes about the most difficult subjects. Finding an authentic voice is no simple matter, like a glib term such as assertiveness training might suggest. Now, assertiveness is definitely a good idea, if not a cultural ideal, which now is considered good not only for boys, but also for girls. Ellen Goodman, the columnist Ellen Goodman, tells the story that her best friend has 4 little daughters and says to each of her 4 little girls, "Speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. The only person you'll scare off is your future ex-husband." Now, that is great advice. But despite decades of assertiveness training, and so much good advice out there, clients still seek our help because they find that their words cannot affect their partners, or that conflict brings only pain rather than an opportunity for 2 people to know each other better. It's also true that such problems transcend gender, sexual orientation, and other important vantage points. Anybody can experience trouble speaking up or knowing how to take a difficult conversation to the next level. Alternatively, anybody can make the mistake of over-focusing on a subject or trying to process something when they would be so much better off to lighten up and let it go, or to distract themselves by going bowling.